On behalf of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for being with us for our 2015 annual meeting and dinner. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. Thanks for being here. I hate to ruin your fun, because I know you're having a good time. We are going to get started. My name's Kenny Craig. I'm President and CEO of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. In just a minute, you can have a good time again. You can stop listening to me. Don't applaud for that. But at this time, I'd like to invite Reverend John Lewis from the Presbyterian Church to the podium for the invocation and pledge. John?
Would you please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, we humbly give you thanks for this wonderful meal that has been set before us. We thank you for the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, for all the hard work they do. We thank you for the leadership of Kenny Craig, the dedication of all the staff. We thank you for everyone gathered here tonight who love and believe in all the exciting things that are happening in our community. We ask that you continue to bless the efforts of our good friend and Citizen of the Year, Steve Timmer. We thank you for the many hours of hard work that he has devoted to our city and our community. We pray that you would shower your blessings on all the businesses here tonight. Bless them with even greater prosperity in the coming year. And may each of us continue to be filled with love and devotion for our community. For we pray in your holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go ahead and start the official parts of the program so we can get everybody out at a reasonable time, which I know is important to folks. So for short people, there we go. So the first thing that I get to do up here is to thank some key sponsors for tonight. So for our annual meeting event and presenting sponsors, we'd like to first pleased to say that Community First Solutions is this evening's event sponsor. In addition to being one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the area, Community First is one of the city's largest employers. With nearly 700 employees, they impact the lives of over 45,000 individuals annually. As many of you know, Community First is leading downtown revitalization by relocating their corporate headquarters to the historic Rangel Furniture Store on the corner of 3rd and Ludlow Streets in the heart of downtown Hamilton's business district. This is a significant investment in the Hamilton community that sends a powerful statement about their commitment to Hamilton and belief that downtown Hamilton is a great place to grow. Thank you. So the next one's a little tricky. I'd like to join me in thanking our event sponsor, or our presenting sponsor, Miller Coors. For more than 20 years, the Miller Coors Trenton Brewery has been a dedicated employer of the Ohio community and continuously raises the bar on product quality. They brew a portfolio of great tasting beer, including Coors Light, Miller Lite, and Miller Genuine Draft, while maintaining a commitment to environmental sustainability and, of course, a strong commitment to our communities and our people. So thank you again, presenting sponsor Miller Coors. So Kenny and the gang tell me I have brief remarks, and they underline brief. So first, thank you for the opportunity to have served as the board chair for the last year. And for those who were in attendance last year, I believe I'm the first, and I'm sure Kenny and the group hope the last chair to not be present at their nominating meeting. So thank you for that. Thank you to Kenny, Nancy, Tammy, Laura, Tiffany, and Mary for all their support this past year, and to Mike Dingledine for being one heck of a vice chair who filled in whenever needed, for being a great sounding board and certainly a wealth of information about this role in this community. I truly just have a couple of other things I want to share before I actually hand the microphone over to Mike. First, I suspect as I look around the room, most of you here understand the value of being a member of this unique group called the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. But there's still a lot more folks in the community who don't, and I believe one of our responsibilities is to help educate them and to spread the word. Think about the slate of candidates that we just voted on. These folks come from businesses small, medium, and large. They come from healthcare, banking, manufacturing, accounting, retail, organizations who have been here and been members for decades or for just a few months. The Chamber truly knows no bounds. It has successfully served all of the previously mentioned and has been an all-inclusive support within the community, as well as a tremendous advocate for the entire community. I'm going to go a little off. So how many people in this room are currently or have been in a Leadership Hamilton class? There we go. Okay, me too. So talk about an education, right? So most folks here know I was not born here. Heck, I wasn't even born in the state of Ohio. I'm not sure you could tell that. Okay. I was born in upstate New York in a little place called Syracuse. Not so good this year, okay, just saying. There's actually another school besides the Orange there too, by the way. But as of right now, I've spent more than a third of my life and more than a half of my career here. Plus, perhaps even more importantly, my son was born here. So, even with all those years spent here, it really did take attending Leadership Hamilton and meeting the folks I've had in the chamber or through other Hamilton organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, like the folks at the city, like the Hospital Foundation, Fort Hamilton, to really appreciate all of what's here. I'd been offered the opportunity to attend Leadership Hamilton a number of times, but never seemed to feel I had the time to do it. Today I can tell you I wish I had done it sooner. Today I find myself researching and searching for more and more facts about Hamilton, its extraordinary history, and the journey it's on. I want to say thank you for including me, a little bit of an outsider, in this journey, and sharing that rich heritage that is Hamilton. I'm excited about continuing on this journey with all of you, and just want to say thank you for a really great year. Thanks. And now, Mike. It is now my pleasure to bring forward newly elected chair, Mike Dingledine. For like a few seconds.
Okay, obviously Denise is more important because the microphone's at this very low level. Let me unpack this for a minute. Somebody like Denise, who's taken over the chamber, she doesn't have a Hamilton business. She's in Trenton. She's a manager of one of the largest breweries in the entire planet Earth. She was recognized last year as a Women in Manufacturing STEP honoree. She was on special assignment for 2 years, going all around the world, making every other Miller brewery better because she ran the best one. She gets back from this assignment and she chairs the board of 2 different organizations, this chamber and the Boys and Girls Club, at the same time. She's also on the Port Authority board and she's on the Fort Hamilton Foundation board. Cindy and I are both following her in our board assignments, and we decided that it's going to take both of us to fill her shoes. So I want to say that Denise gets it. She understands there's more to business than just the dollars and cents of her own organization. She's part of our community. She supports everything that happens in our community, and we should all stand up and thank her for that.
Thank you. Do I get to go now?
Yes, you do. We have 3 other members who are departing our board this year. They all have term limited out of the board, and one of them's here tonight. So I'll start with Don Ryan and Scott Ellsworth. are great local community members. They're great business leaders. They've served on this board for many, many years, and they're leaving our board based on their eligibility. The last person that's leaving our board tonight is here, and that's John Gaduli, another person who gets it. He is responsible for the most important organization in the city of Hamilton. I'm biased, the foundation. But he has served on every board I can think of in the city of Hamilton. John, please stand up and accept our thanks. So I have brief comments to make tonight too, and I want to keep them brief, but I want to share a few things. There's a recurring set of themes for me tonight that go to a lot of things that we're doing in Hamilton. And they're all metaphors, and I love metaphors because they're great to explain things. The first metaphor is really happening in Hamilton right now. It's a rising tide raises all ships. We used to silo ourselves. We used to have all kinds of different organizations with all kinds of different missions. But right now, for some reason, and I'll allude to that in a minute, we are really in a second metaphor, and that is we're all rowing together in the same boat. We are not a chamber and a foundation and all kinds of community organizations and elected officials and governmental bodies that are all doing things in their own silo. We are actually working together right now, and that's making a huge, huge difference in Hamilton. And my favorite metaphor of all is one I use a lot, is all hands on deck. We are never been better at this metaphor. There's a couple pieces to that metaphor that are important. The first one is it's urgent, it's now, it's right now. And the person who is our master of all hands on deck is our new city manager, not new anymore, 5 years, Joshua Smith. My favorite part of that metaphor, though, is that everybody has everybody's back. Everybody is doing everybody's job. It used to be there was a city department for economic development, and a city department for public safety, and a city department for public works. But now every city employee is all hands on deck. Every business member is all hands on deck. Every elected official is all hands on deck. Every community organization like the Chamber is all hands on deck. And so what does that mean for us as a Chamber? We're in here tonight as the business leaders of Hamilton and the members of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. And I'm going to scare the shit out of Kenny right now. I want to change the conversation. I want to change the conversation we have about what we do and why we're a chamber. And this is my provocative statement. Don't join a chamber and don't pay membership fees. Just don't do it. That's my provocative statement. I want to change the language, not the action. The language should be that we're investing in our community. We're not paying a membership fee. We're not paying for extrinsic benefits. We are all together working on something that's about all of us. And so that's a change about the larger picture and the larger experiment. So I still know that everybody who's a business leader in this room talks about return on investment. So I don't believe that we should ignore the return, but I believe we should think about joining the chamber as an investment and not as a fee, not as membership. So I want to dump the term membership service tonight, and I want to talk about the term investor returns. So we should all think about our chamber membership as an investor and a return. And we all know about the bottom line. But I think there's an intrinsic value for being part of the chamber that returns the bottom line. If we raise the tide and all ships raise up, we all do better as business people in this community. So again, don't think of your membership in the chamber as something that we're paying for. Think of it as something we're investing in. I know people in this room get it. I've met a lot of people in this community. Bob Robinson at Kyvet gets it. Jeff Thurman gets it. Denise Quinn gets it. You don't sell casters by being part of the chamber. Dave Lippert gets it. And next year, he's going to stand up here as the first person in the history of the 100-year chamber that's going to be a second-time chair of this organization. That's cool. So we have a lot of really fun things to do tonight, and I want you to think about the chamber differently. And again, I want you to think about how we invest in this community and do it all together. Thank you.
I don't scare too easy, Mike, don't worry. I think that's great. I do have wine up here today, not because I'm a wino, but because my throat's bothering me a little bit. Mike, I do want to thank you for your leadership going into this year. One of the things that's remarkable about Mike is the many hats that he wears. I don't know how he balances it all, do you? I know the staff, I heard a note, I think, from his wife over there. I know the staff, the entire board, and all of our members looking forward to working closer with you this year. Denise, thanks again for all your leadership. All the things that Mike said are true, and I really believe that this community has been the beneficiary of your leadership. Thanks so much. I'm going to go off script a little bit because of Mike's comments, but I think it fits right into what I wanted to say. So what are the keys to our success as our organization works with others in 2015? I think first we have to execute our strategic plan. That means growing our investors. Do you hear that, Mike? Investors. Continuing to partner with the city, the core fund, the foundation, and others to move economic development priorities forward. And then remaining the business voice at all levels of government. Believe it or not, I know we have some elected officials in here. Sometimes we got to keep an eye on some of the things the government's doing, because sometimes it's in the best interest of business and then sometimes it's not. That's one of our roles. But I think just as key is to continue to build partnerships throughout the year with organizations such as Ohio Means Jobs, the Workforce Investment Board, Butler Tech. And why do I say that? Because one of the big things we keep hearing is our companies are still looking for good workers. What's your most important asset as an employee? Your workers. And even with unemployment low, companies are still having a hard time finding good people. So we got to continue to partner with those organizations and others to help meet those needs. A side note about 2015, you can help us succeed, everybody in this room, by getting involved, participating in a task force, working with a chamber member to help them grow their business. We can all do better together. So I look forward to 2015. Thank you. At this time, I want to recognize the staff of the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. I mean, really, they're the ones that are doing the work. I just get to stand up here and have fun. I want you to know that I appreciate all the work you do. I know everybody else does too. So when I call your name, please stand up. Continue to stand until I've called everybody's name, and then we'll have a rousing applause. Nancy O'Neill. Tammy Walton. Tammy. Okay. Laura Merrill. And our newest employee, our Membership Development Director, Tiffany Grubb. And I think each one of them gets it too, Mike. Each one of our volunteers, our members, make a difference for the Chamber. It's my pleasure tonight to present an award along these lines. You know, we couldn't have been the leading voice of business over the last 105 years without our members. It's really your Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber member that best exemplifies this volunteerism is recognized each year at our annual meeting as the Ambassador of the Year. We're going to do that again tonight. Our recipient this year is the Manager of Volunteer Services at Vitas Healthcare of Greater Cincinnati and Dayton, as well as the co-owner of the Hamilton Joes. Please join me in congratulating our 2014 Greater Hamilton Chamber Ambassador of the Year, Jill Grissom. And Jill, please come forward.
Wow, is this fun or what? You know? Pretty cool. I just want to say just a few words and encourage each of you to think about possibly being an ambassador for the Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. Yes, it's a volunteer position, but it's an easy position. And you all know why. Because of the great staff at the Greater Hamilton Chamber. Don't we all agree?
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure to work with each and every one of the staff at the Chamber, and it has educated me so much about our city. I'm a lifelong member, born and raised here in Hamilton, and you know, I want our city to grow and achieve. The partnerships that we have with the Chamber and all the other partners we have here as members of our Chamber of Commerce, and I say our Chamber of Commerce, because they work for us every single day. Being an ambassador is a wonderful opportunity to go out and showcase the different benefits that the Greater Hamilton Chamber has to offer, and to also portray the wonderful benefits of your own employer, because they allow you to take this time to help in our community. I'd like to thank Vitas Healthcare for giving me the time each month to participate as a volunteer for the Greater Hamilton Chamber, and I encourage you all to consider trying some of this. It's fun, and it's amazing the relationships that you build. I do want to do a special thank you to Vitas Healthcare for allowing me to be able to do this. It has been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
I thought she took my wine there for a minute. As we move into the Citizen of the Year presentation, I want to thank you again all for being here. We value your support. We truly value our partnerships. Tonight we have some past Citizens of the Year in attendance that I would like to recognize before we recognize our Citizen of the Year. Please stand when I call your name. I can try this, it's not going to work. Hold your applause to the end. Jack and Shirley Moser. See, I told you. Pat Carruthers. I think I saw him over here. Bill Wilkes. Chris Crothers. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. I haven't said hi to you tonight. And finally, of course, Mike Dingledine. Mike? Let's give them a hand. We have another special man in our midst tonight that is a previous Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Dave Blue, please stand and be recognized. Tell Marge we all missed her. At this time, Terry Bicot of the Journal News, the Chamber's partner in this award, will come to present the 2014 Citizen of the Year. Terry.
So I was looking at the agenda and I see Kevin Aldridge's name on here. So those of you who paid the big bucks to see our editor come up here and present this award, I apologize first. You know, the Journal News has been a partner with the Hamilton Chamber for many years in the Citizen of the Year Award. And I was here actually my first year that I worked with the Journal News about 10 years ago when my friend Lisa Warren was up here and gave a really impassioned speech as she talked about the Hamilton sculpture coming to town, and it was really amazing to watch her kind of weave her story. And over the last few years, as I've been back, I've had a chance to be closer to it as I'm part of the nomination committee and picking the winner. And the thing that kind of strikes me every year is passion. Every year you see these Citizen of the Year nominees and the passion that they show for Hamilton. And it's one thing to have passion, but it's another thing to kind of take that and create purpose, and then take purpose and create selflessness. And with that, you make a difference. And that's really what Steve Timmer's all about, as the video you're going to see is going to show.
All I know is that I thought he would be a really good selection for Citizen of the Year. So I called him and mentioned it to him that I'd like to nominate him because I wanted to make sure he was comfortable with that. And
I told him, John, I'd rather you'd not do that. I'm really not into that public recognition thing. I just do the things low key and just move on.
And I said, well, think about it if you would. Take the weekend or whatever and let me know. So I called him back a few days later and he said, no, I really don't want to do it.
So he says, okay, I'll honor your request not to. So about 5 or 6 days later, my phone rings and it's Kenny Craig.
So one of my favorite parts of the job is to give people good news. So it was time that day to give Steve a call to let him know, in fact, he was the winner this year. I called him and he answered, and, Steve, yes, it's Kenny. Hey, what's up? Steve, you've been to our annual meeting before. You know each year we choose a Citizen of the Year. And the good news, Steve, this year is you're that man.
And at first I'm thinking, I can't believe John did that. And then he says, I want to let you know right away, it was not John Gadula. He told him, make sure that you knew it wasn't him. So I understand it was Jack Moser.
I did not nominate him, for the record. But a few days later I saw John Moser at an event, and I mentioned to him that I wanted to nominate Steve for Citizen of the Year, but Steve didn't want me to. And, well, Judge Moser said, well, I think I'll take care of that. I'll just nominate him.
I compiled some material together for Steve for purposes of nominating him as Citizen of the Year. And I decided to talk to John Gaduli about it. I thought he could be a co-nominee. And when I talked to John, I found out that he too thought Steve was a good candidate. But he warned me. He said he had asked Steve about it, and Steve says, don't you dare. I don't want you to do it. So John felt intimidated enough that he was afraid to nominate him.
His first reaction was, you got to be kidding me. I told those guys not to do this. And he was serious. He didn't want the recognition. If you know Steve, he's a little bit perturbed about it. But the more we talked, the more he settled down, the more he realized, all right, well, wait till I see those guys, though.
So I'm thinking, I just can't get out of these things. So, this was really not something that I really like, these big award banquets and these awards. I just soon do what I do and move on.
And that's how Steve ended up nominated by me, but really Gaduli was in the background.
Wow, you mentioned the name Steve Timmer, and it just makes me smile.
You may find Steve mowing a landscape median on 3rd Street. You may find him creating a dog park. You could find him serving beer at a concert at River's Edge. It's just endless.
Once the decision's made to do something, he starts the very next day, whatever it needs to be done. So, and carries it through to the bitter end.
When I think of volunteer committees, I think of two major tasks. There's the collective planning, sitting around a table, figuring out what to do. And then there's the doing. And the doing part is where Steve excels. I mean, the list gets very small when it comes time to roll up your sleeves and, boots on the ground, hands in the dirt, and he's the guy that's always first in line to do that kind of stuff. So, he's just a fantastic doer in our community, and everywhere you see the hard work being done, you almost always see him in that mix.
I mean, he's a leader, and to me, that's someone with a vision that can make it reality. And Steve does that. He's ambitious to a fault. He loves a challenge.
He's an amazing guy. You'll see him maybe doing some excavating work or working on a tractor, for example, at the dog park. And then the night of that, you'll see him with a coat and tie on at some kind of fancy event. And that's just the kind of guy Steve is.
But, I think Steve Timmer is probably the ideal choice for Citizen of the Year this year. I mean, he's done so many things in this community, and you could just sit here and tick off one after the other. But kind of the unique thing about Steve, I think, is that he does it at all levels. He's a board member, so he's a leader, and he's out there making decisions and being involved in governance and the important things that get done. But he's also a doer. I mean, every project that gets done in the city, he seems to be involved with.
He gets started on something and he's determined and he finishes it. And he's the kind of guy that said, hey, if you can't get the job done, I'll do it. So just get the hell out of my way. And he moves.
Most people, men and women on the fire department, are type A personalities. Steve is that. And they just want that challenge. They just want to take whatever emergency situations, they thrive.
Steve likes to work out, and I get tickled with him because he helped build the judo club, and he goes over there every morning and gets slammed around on those mats, and then he comes in here and starts on the next physical project that he's got to do, whether it's mowing grass or whatever. He's sort of like Superman, I think.
It's never ending. He's always working and always volunteering and doing something amazing.
Especially within the last year, when you look at the dog park that was created up at Veterans Park, Steve was really the driving force behind that. He's the guy that made it happen, and I think he's the reason we have the park that we have today, which is it's used so extensively.
And now he's really working on something because the new Conservancy Board has hired Steve to be the director of the Conservancy Board, the Parks Conservancy. And he's been working for the last 2 weeks, organizing tools, cleaning things up, making plans, interviewing people for summer jobs and stuff like that. I think you're going to see a huge difference in not only the appearance of the parks, but eventually the amenities in the parks because of Steve.
But I knew when he left the fire department he would be very successful in just volunteering, because he would say that he loves the city. He wasn't looking, for a job per se or another career. He's had that. He's been very successful in it, in all that he's done. So he really wants to make Hamilton the best Hamilton can be.
Steve is one of those very valuable volunteers, and we're blessed to have so many people in our city, but Steve Timmer's a special one. And it wasn't a matter of if Steve will be Citizen of the Year, but when Steve will be Citizen of the Year.
So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, the Journal News, and the committee, Steve Timmer.
Well, I'm going to keep this short, believe me, because this is past my bedtime. First of all, I do want to introduce my wife and son who's here tonight, my wife Linda and my son Scott. And probably the biggest surprise I had tonight is my Aunt Carol and my cousin Chris came down from New Albany, Indiana for tonight. They're over here. One thing Jack's lucky about is it's not one of those glass award things or whatever because I've got some of those, and Linda told me if I brought another one of those home, whoever nominated him was going to dust it, and Jack was going to get Shirley's dust rag, and he was going to be coming over doing it. I do want to thank the nominating committee for this honor, because it is a great honor. When I seen the names of the individuals who's been Citizen of the Year in the past, it's quite humbling and almost a point of being embarrassing. Many do ask me why do I do the things that I do, and it is because I love the city of Hamilton. I've lived here my whole life, and my goal is to try to make it better. I think that we're on a roll. I think many things are changing. Downtown's looking great, and there's a lot of people that are part of that, and most of them are in this room. Another reason I like volunteering is because you get associated with some of these people, and they're the finest people in this community, and that's the way you get to know them. I spent 33 years on a fire department. It was a great career. I enjoyed going to work almost every day. Not every day, but almost every day. And you learn a camaraderie-ship, and your whole focus was the city of Hamilton. When an alarm came in, it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter if they were white, black, rich, poor. We were going, and we were going to get there within 2 or 3 minutes in most cases. And I enjoyed that. I liked that challenge. I liked that not knowing exactly what you may be getting into. But this year I've done a couple probably dumb things, I guess you'd say. I did help probably my best friend Ray Smith over here redo a building for a judo club, and I foolishly thought at age 60, hey, it's a good idea after 37 years to start working out in judo again. The first 2 months, I actually thought I was dying. There was actually pain deep within my body. I mean, really bad. And the second thing is, I let the city manager talk me into this parks job. And the more I see that every day, I think that rate's the dumbest thing I've ever done. But one of my good buddy here, Jack Moser, he always said, staying physical and mentally sharp will lead you to a productive long life. Well, it evidently works because there's no one more productive than Jack, and he's 187 years old. So if the best thing I do is if you really want to get involved, it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people. Come on in and join all the rest of us and help make our city better. Thank you.
I love the last comment in the video from Pat Moeller, that it was never a matter of if, it was only a matter of when, and I couldn't agree with that more. I'm giving out a few You Rock My World awards tonight, and Steve, you get my very first one. Thank you. My second one goes to Greg Lynch. Greg, are you here? He did that video. It was awesome. Greg, where are you? So the next part is really cool. What you're about to see tonight is truly remarkable. It's a story, and it's a story about Hamilton. It's about ourselves. It's about seeing our story. It's about not taking Hamilton for granted. It's about not dwelling on the challenges. It's about not managing our decline. It's about not taking too little, too late for an answer. It's getting all hands on deck. Thank you, Joshua. And it's about staking our claim for our future. So this is a very, very cool thing we're going to see tonight, and it beats keynote speaker all to hell every year. So this video is called We Are Hamilton, and I want you to enjoy it, because I've enjoyed it about 2,000 times already.
Everybody has a story about the chances they took, about the times they tried and failed, the times they triumphed. Everybody has a story that is personal and unique. Every city has a story, the collected stories of its people, woven together, turning individuals into a community. The story defines us. The story drives us. Men and women with hats full of wisdom and coats full of muscle made their way to this garden spot, applied ingenuity, courage, resourcefulness, and drive. Together we built our Hamilton, a city born of pioneers, and we raised our children to be strong and brave and spirited, then watched them excel in business, the arts, science, athletics, whatever endeavor they chose. We worked hard. We played hard. We made our way. We made our name mean something to the world. We rose to the challenge time and again. We conquered, we endured, we excelled, we embrace our legacy. We thrive on the challenges put before us. Today's challenge is not of nature, but of information. a river of knowledge, at times rough and unwieldy like the Great Miami. We can tame that river too, with the same fortitude, the same courage, the same pluck and drive. We find ourselves on the verge of the next Renaissance, a golden age of the arts, of technology, a new industry of the mind and spirit built upon the foundation of hard work and perseverance, of steel and sweat. The stories never end. We remember them. We tell them to our children. We pass along our vision, our courage, our innovation, our way of seeing through. We give birth to artists, entrepreneurs, builders, makers, doers. We create new ways to meet new challenges. We move forward in the face of adversity. This is our next story, the story of innovation, rising to the challenge, bringing new technologies, teaching our children the lessons of those that came before: spirit, passion, drive, courage. We will create the next legacy. We will write the next story. We are the past. We are the future. We are the story. We are Hamilton.
I promise you're going to watch that again in a second. I want to do some special thanks. Community First Solutions, our event sponsor tonight, they made that happen. Very much thanks to Community First. That entire script was written by Richard O. Jones, a former Journal News employee who's now our poet extraordinaire in Hamilton, Ohio. He wrote that script. That was awesome. Mike Wolfram, a Hamilton native, who did the entire video production of that. Foster and Flux in Cincinnati, they're very hot and very sought after, and we got to use his talents for a Hamilton video, which is great. And we tried to find a professional voice talent to do that voiceover, and it ended up being one of our very own, Emily Glazer from Community First Solutions. And my third You Rock My World award tonight goes to Daniel Webb, who put the whole thing together and was the director of that. So I imagine us using this as a bragging video for all the people who don't know about Hamilton. But frankly, the most important audience for this video is ourselves. It's making people in Hamilton realize we have a really good story going on right now. Things are really happening. I think we're in the third or fourth year of a 10-year renaissance that nobody can match. And I think that video captures it beautifully. Thank you, thank you, thank you for those of you who did it. So, one of the things I love is no one's on that screen for more than a third of a second. So it's not about any one story. It's not about any one person. It's not about any one organization. It's about the whole substance of it all together. And that's what I really think sings out loud in that video. So let's watch it again. It's really cool.
Everybody has a story about the chances they took, about the times they tried and failed, the times they triumphed. Everybody has a story that is personal and unique. Every city has a story. The collected stories of its people, woven together, turning individuals into a community. The story defines us. The story drives us. Men and women with hats full of wisdom and coats full of muscle made their way to this garden spot, applied ingenuity, courage, resourcefulness, and drive. Together we built our Hamilton, a city born of pioneers, and we raised our children to be strong and brave and spirited, then watched them excel in business, the arts, science, athletics, whatever endeavor they chose. We worked hard. We played hard. We made our way. We made our name mean something to the world. We rose to the challenge time and again. We conquered, we endured, we excelled, we embrace our legacy. We thrive on the challenges put before us. Today's challenge is not of nature, but of information. A river of knowledge, at times rough and unwieldy like the Great Miami. We can tame that river too, with the same fortitude, the same courage, the same pluck and drive. We find ourselves on the verge of the next Renaissance, a golden age of the arts, of technology, a new industry of the mind and spirit built upon the foundation of hard work and perseverance, of steel and sweat. The stories never end. We remember them. We tell them to our children. We pass along our vision, our courage, our innovation, our way of seeing through. We give birth to artists, entrepreneurs, builders, makers, doers. We create new ways to meet new challenges. We move forward in the face of adversity. This is our next story, the story of innovation, rising to the challenge, bringing new technologies, teaching our children the lessons of those that came before, spirit, passion, drive, courage. We will create the next legacy. We will write the next story. We are the past. We are the future. We are the story. We are Hamilton.
So you all have about 1,999 times to see this before you catch up with me. But the good news is tonight at 9:30, this goes live on Facebook, on the city's website, on Community First website, and on the Chamber's website. So gather it, watch it, be proud of it. It's something that we all should be talking about. It's our story. So let's all tell about our story. I'm supposed to thank our sponsors tonight, but I totally rejected the word sponsor earlier. So I'm going to thank our investors tonight. Our investors are Butler Tech, First Financial Bank, Fort Hamilton Hospital, LCNB, Mercy Health Fairfield, and U.S. Bank. Our presenting investor, Denise Miller-Coors, thank you very much. And our lead investor, and our investor in this video tonight, Community First Solutions. Oh my God, thank you very much. Special thanks to the Courtyard, our host. Fantastic job, Carmen. Everyone, fantastic place to have this. Journal News, who's our partner in the Citizen of the Year. Noonan's Party Store, who sponsored our wine. And our very own TV Hamilton. Steve, thank you. It's always great to have you here. My last You Rock My World award tonight goes to Nancy O'Neill, who put this entire event on. Nancy, thank you so much. So with that, I wish you a good night and safe travels. We are adjourned. Thank you.